Happy Tuesday, everybody. We're going to get started in just a few minutes. I'm excited to share some cool things with you today. The weather is gorgeous. We're getting closer and closer to some beautiful days. And I'm excited. So, what is your favorite season? I'm just curious because like mine is spring and summer, even though spring is going to have allergies, but the summertime where it's nice and warm, there's tons of farms around and fresh and veggies and fruits are abound. That's what I live for. Those are my favorite things. So share with me what yours are. So today, what we're going to talk about is how to create a purposeful bucket list. And it's really, really interesting to me because bucket list overall, people think that it has negative connotations to it. Because bucket is like you are kicking your bucket and you are getting ready to go out with the fireworks. So today I have some kind of thoughts on that for you. And I also want to share with you two of my favorite movies. And I have a pretty long list, but these two actually fall into my list, but they're also super relevant to what we're talking about is creating a list of cool things that we want to do, right? This is our adventures list is what I would call it. It may not necessarily be like even a bucket list. So what I want to start out with actually is show you the trailer for the first movie because that is your homework. One of the homeworks for after you watch this today is to go and watch these two movies. So, and this is the first one that I want to share with you. So let me get it up and running. And here we go.
I run hospitals, not health spas. 2 beds to a room, no exceptions.
There was a survey once. 1,000 people asked if they could know in advance would they want to know the exact day of their death.
Who the hell is that? Who the hell are you?
96% of them said no.
Oh, God. What am I, in the morgue?
That was the first time I laid eyes on Edward Cole.
I want my own room.
You run hospitals, not health spas. 2 beds to a room, no exceptions.
Damned if I'm gonna spend the next 3 weeks laying next to zombie world.
I don't understand how you can run off with a total stranger.
I've got 45 years greased up under the hood of a car. I think I've earned some time for myself.
You got kids?
I don't see her. It's time. Why are we, Oh, my God.
What are you so afraid of? Just because I told you my story does not invite you to be a part of it.
Dear Edward, there's no way I can repay you for all you've done for me. So rather than try, I'm just going to ask you to do something else for me. Find the joy in your life.
You hate me.
Not yet.
We live, we die. And the wheels on the bus go round and round. Proud of you. Nobody cares what you think.
So this is the homework for you is for you to watch this movie because it's very much relevant to what we're talking about. And also I have a recommendation for you for a book to read, and I'm going to post a link to it. The author's name is Jet Wirtz, And he wrote a book called Purpose Driven Retirement, Generating Purpose Driven Bucket List. So today I'm actually taking some of the pieces from his book and also from this movie that I already mentioned to you, and then the other one, which in the trailer I'm going to show to you a little bit later on. And those are the things that I want you to use as kind of the inspiration for you as well. So what I want you to first think about is when we're talking about doing a purposeful bucket list, because that's what we're talking about today, is I want you to reflect on the life that you've had, because you are kind of going from retiring from something from 60% of your life from the birth until this point, and then you're going into the last 30% of your life, which is still a huge part of your overall well-being. So I want you to think about this and write down, because you are going from something that you did from a job that you had maybe for the last 30, 40 years, going into doing something new and something else. And for a lot of people, it's not easy to do, to kind of go from one thing completely going from south to north. It could be that change in direction 180 degrees. So you guys know I'm a big fan of notebooks and a pen and a pencil. So I encourage you, if you don't have a retirement journal yet, I encourage you to grab one and start one. Just a separate notebook where you can jot down some of your ideas that are pertaining to your golden years. What does that look like? What are some of your thoughts that are rattling in your head? What are some of the things that are bothering you, or some of the things that you want to accomplish? And a lot of the times is you can leave a section in your notebook just for blurting out what's on your mind. So that way you can almost like get a clarity, your mind clarity, after you put all these things on paper. Then you can focus on what's next, or your brain can brainstorm where are you heading, or what are some of those important things. And that's why it's so important just to have a notebook to write these things down, because then your brain knows that you're not going to forget them. They are memorialized on paper. So the first thing I want to talk about is purpose. What is purpose? The definition that I looked up yesterday in the dictionary, it's one's intention or resolution or an objective. So depending on how you want to look at it. And what I want you to think about is when you are creating your list of things that you want to do in retirement, that bucket list, that opportunity list, is actually have it in a couple different categories. And I think having some framework around how you're going to do that is also going to help you with other things that you are maybe planning for your retirement, or if you already retire, it's going to help you kind of get things situated and say, you know what, this makes sense because I want to do it next year or 5 years from now because of different circumstances. So the purpose is I want you to think about what are some of your intentions and objectives in 3 categories. So the first category is going to be things that you want to do for yourself. There's nothing wrong with that, for doing the things that you enjoy, the things that you maybe have put aside because you were working so hard or raising family, putting everybody on their feet. And now it's time for you to enjoy those things. The second category is for others, like family, friends, and other important people in your life. Things that you want to do for those that are close to you, that are people that are important to you, that are around you. And then the third category is going to be community in the world. What changes do you want to make? What are some of the things that are important to you? And this can mean very different things to different people because it all depends on your personality. So that's kind of what the framework that we're going to work with today. So the next few steps is we're actually going to get started on creating this list, and it starts somewhere. And guess what? It starts from the beginning. So what we're going to do now is take some time to reflect on your life. You just spent 2/3 of your life doing something and working and raising family and doing other things that are important to you and having hobbies and so forth. And now you are creating lists for some of the things that you want to do in your golden years, which is another 1/3 of your life. So and it's really good idea for you to take what you have done and use that as a foundation for what you want to do next. And what I'm suggesting to you is don't write an autobiography. What you're going to do actually is to create a life graph. Now let me show you what it looks like. Let's see. I want to show you what it looks like. Let me see. This is what life graph looks like. So you can probably see that. And literally it is done on a graph piece of paper. And the graph is used to represent the highs and lows of your life. So the higher the point, the better the experience. The lower the point, the worse the experience. I suggest that you use from 0 to 1. And as you can see, your 0 line is kind of your neutral. And then you have high points in your life, going all the way 5 being an absolute best, amazing time, can't forget about it. And then you also going to have low points in your life where it's death, sickness, divorce, or something else. As you can see, like when this person did it, there was a death of my mom, then there's some breaking of issues, then there's moving, breaking up and things like that. But then you also have some amazing highs, going to Disney World with family, doing some climbing, the drum set, things like that. And for everybody, it's going to be different. So what I want you to do is do this that you see on the screen for you. And the way you're going to do this is you're going to pick 15 moments or events from your lifetime that are important enough for you to put it on the graph. So you're going to, remember, include your positive as well as your negative things, because a lot of the times what people don't realize is that the negative events that we had that occurred in our lives are going to be, in many cases, our biggest lessons that helped us and pushed us to move, to get better, to make changes that made us better people than we are. So that's the goal. Okay. Hi, Cynthia, and hi, Dan. Thank you so much for joining me. Dan, I am not a licensed financial advisor. I provide personal opinions based on my own experiences and my own finances. But overall, what I am is what I actually do for a living is I'm a licensed real estate agent that works primarily with seniors and helps them get things situated as they're prepping for the retirement and also living well in retirement. So that's what I do. That's what my passion, and sharing information and helping others with advice is what I do. So thank you so much for your question. All right, so we are now on our life graph, and that is going to take you some time. So then I want you to draw it out and make a list, and use your judgment and also use your instinct when you're thinking about those things, and go back to when you were little up until today's date and write down every single thing that comes to mind. And then you can then narrow things down and create a list of 15 things. I find it extremely fascinating, and I'm actually going to do it myself to see what that looks like for me. So an example that we can also use is, for example, biggest events in your life that happened: birthdays, deaths, graduations, your family graduating from college. Maybe you were the first one that graduated from college in your family. That's a huge accomplishment. So think about the things that are important to you, that happened, that are very memorable. Create that list, and then narrow it down to 15 major key moments, events in your life. So that's going to be going on your life graph. The next task that we're going to do with our bucket list is we're going to redefine who you are today. And I think this is so much fun, because what you're going to actually do, in addition to creating your graph, you're also going to create a new business card for yourself. You guys all know what a business card is. Let me show you. I should have mine somewhere around here. Well, I'll find it later for you. But a business card is what a lot of people carry. However, in retirement, you're not going to have a business card. You're going to have a calling card. And what that does is reframes you in who you are today based on where you came from and the experiences and everything that you had in your life that happened with you to who you are today. So you can use a program called Canva. It's Canva, canva.com, and I will link this program for you in the notes under this video. And it's free. You can do a lot of different things with it that pertain to social media, including designing your business cards. So here's my suggestion to you. When you are meeting someone and you think that, this is someone that I may want to see again, I want to maybe get to know them a little bit more, maybe they will come and become my acquaintance, maybe they will become a good friend, you're going to give them their calling card and say, hey, I'm Olga. Here is my card on how to get in touch with me. And it also lists some of the things that are important to me. And this is who I am. It's just a fun way to engage with someone, to introduce yourself, and to strike up a conversation. So here are the suggestions to have on your calling card. You're going to have your name, your phone number, and an email. So that way people know how to reach you. If you want to add any other contact information, that is up to you. You also may want to list your favorite hobbies. So that way people maybe can relate to you and say, hey, this person is just like me, or maybe they like certain things. So if maybe you are an avid skier or a gardener or other things that you like to do, or maybe you want people to know that you are a grandmom, or maybe you are a great grandmother, you can say, hey, I am a proud grandmom of 5 grandkids and 2 great grandkids, something like that. You also going to write down your retired profession. So who were you before you retired? So you can say, I am a retired teacher, or you can say, I am a retired high school English teacher. So if you want to get a little bit more specific, so that way, if you want people to know what you did for a living before, I think that's fun because that can also strike up a conversation. And the suggestion also is to add some kind of a quote or a motto that appeals to you. So think about some of the quotes and motivational quotes that we see all the time from famous people, from past presidents. If you want to find some things and then browse through them and see which ones really call to you, and then narrow down to one, that is one that you can put on your calling card. And guess what? There are no rules about what you can put on your card. So if you want to put other things, if you want to put your own picture or maybe a logo or something, that is what's going to go on your calling card. I thought that was really fun way to kind of say, hey, I have moved on from a business card because I'm working for someone else. And now this is my calling card because this is who I am today. And this is where I came from. And these are the things that are important to me. Now we're going into the 4th category. And this is where we're actually going to categorize things and dive in real deep and actually think about the things that we want to do and create our lists. So remember before in the beginning, I said that there's 3 categories. So this is where we're actually going to dive in deep and talk about what are some of the things that you want to have in each of those categories. So here you're going to create a list of minimum of 5 if you just want to get started. Okay, so just start with 5. If you want to do more, by all means, I think we should do more. I think we should have like 20, 30 things in each category, but it takes time to come up with those things. So I encourage you to start your homework today. And as you go about doing your things, probably other things are going to pop up. That's how I work. That's how my mind works. And this is why I always have like notebooks and pads everywhere I am, whether it's in the car or it's in my bedrooms, because I always have these ideas that pop in my head. I'm like, oh, I have to write that one down and add it to my list. So that is my suggestion to you. So 5 things for each category, at least 5 things that you want to do for yourself. Maybe you want to try hot yoga. I don't know if any of you guys have, but that's what's on my list. I want to try hot yoga, and I also want to try aerial yoga. This is where they have these I don't know, like sheets of fabric almost, and then you just kind of swing with them and you stretch with them, and I don't know what else you do, but it looked pretty cool to me. So that's what's on my list. I have hot yoga because then you sweat and then you also exercise and stretch. That sounded good to me. I also want to try, that I have seen on TikTok, are these head spas, where it's not the body massage that they give you, but it's the hair and the head massage. Like they wash your hair and then they massage your head. And I'm like, this looks really, really cool. So I put that on my list of things, right? So these are the things that I like to do. I also want to find a cat cafe and go have coffee with cats wandering around me, and maybe do some reading, but there's like cats that are living at the cafe, or maybe they're up for adoption. I think that's a pretty cool thing to have. So these are some of the things that are on my list of things. So I encourage you to think about some of the things that you want to do. You know what? I encourage you to go wild and go wide. You can go skydiving and put that on the list. There are companies that I've seen one time that I thought was pretty cool, where you can actually go on a flight and it simulates the feeling that you have in space. So at some point, I guess it starts to go down, and then you literally just kind of float in the plane. I'm like, well, that's pretty cool, because I know I'm never going to make it to the space, but it would be cool to kind of feel that same feeling and seeing you literally just kind of floating in the air. So that's cool. I don't know how much that cost, but I thought that was pretty neat. So whenever I watch videos, like one of the things that I think about to myself, I was like, well, that would be pretty neat to experience. Well, guess what? That can go on your list. And whether you get to it now or later, that's okay. That could be your running list of ideas that then you can get more specific about some of these things. So right now in the beginning, just make it broad and general, just some of the things that you want to try. So that's going to be for you. The same thing for your family and friends. Maybe you, one of the cool things that I've heard one of my clients do is when kids graduated, each of their grandkids that graduated from high school, they got to pick one place that they wanted to travel to, and the grandma and the grandkid were going to go together. So one of the places that they went to was Japan. And she said, anywhere you want to go, that's going to be your graduation present. And they got to spend time together. So grandma got to travel somewhere. And of course, the grandchild got to experience something new, like really unique. And they also got to spend some time together. Can you imagine on how amazing that experience would be for you and also for your loved one and the memories that you're going to create? So that's one of the things like really stuck in my mind when they mentioned that. I was like, that's a really neat idea. And if you want if you are on a budget, it doesn't have to be going to another country. You can say, hey, let's go out to eat and do something for a day, right? This is your day. Tell me what you want to do. And you guys go do something together in the local area. So there's lots of variations of that you can do that I thought was a pretty neat idea. So things that you can do for your family, things that maybe you want to do with your friends. Think about the friends that maybe have moved far away that you haven't seen in a while. One of the things that in my other videos that I was doing that really got me thinking is if I have a really good friend that lives in California. I don't get to see her very often, yet whenever I travel to California every few years for different conferences that my company has, I try to make it a point to go see her, because I realize that, I see her once every few years, but when you look at that as a bigger picture, it's going to be literally a number of my fingers that I may see her in our lifetimes because she lives far away. So we have an opportunity to actually see each other at the end of May. So she's going to be actually coming down to where I'm at, and we're going to get together with a couple of other girls. So I'm excited. So I'm always being mindful, especially friends that live far away. So I have one friend that lives in California. I have another one that lives in Texas. And the one that lives in Texas, I see her regularly twice a year. And we make it a point to see each other and spend time together. And also we make sure that we phone each other at least once a week. So that's how I am being intentional about keeping up with my friends. But if you have people that live far away, that could go on your list, in your second list of, your family and friends, to say, you know what, I want to see this person more often because now I have the ability to travel. And then the third category is called community and the world. So this is where we leave the imprint of something that we think is important to us, that we want others to have and do. And we leave the imprint on others and we make a difference. And for every person, it's going to be different. So it could be something that you volunteer. It could be something that you maybe mentor somebody. Maybe you teach classes. Maybe you do something else. So think about some of the things that you really enjoy doing and think about how you can make a difference in the world. And being able to do that is going to give you huge satisfaction and a huge lift in when you are in your retirement years. One of the things that I discovered recently that I'm going to do more research to share with you is OSHER, which is lifelong. It's called lifelong learning. And it's available in different parts of the country. Most of the time, it's actually a program that's available in your local colleges. So I recently saw that because someone else mentioned it. And I went to see what is actually available around me. And quite a few colleges around me have those options. So it's people that volunteer their time and they teach different courses where you can go in and let's say you want to learn more about art or history, or you want to learn another language. You can actually attend classes that is going to help you maybe do something new. So I thought that was really neat. It's just something else that you can do when you are in your golden years to learn something for yourself and then maybe give back to others as well. So that was our third category. And now we're moving on to step number 5, because as you know, just making a list is a great start. But what are we going to do with that list to actually make some of those points and the things that we want to do a reality? And this is where we're going to actually set resolutions and goals for those items for that list. So here also the recommendation is to separate things into kind of 2 lists: the things that you have never done before and the things that maybe you already are doing but you want to improve on. So for example, what does that mean? Let's say one of your things for yourself on your list is that you want to start eating better, to look after your health. Well, you're already eating, which means that what you want to do is make changes. So that's going to be on one list. Or the things that you've never done are the things that you want to try that are brand new to you. So this is completely different. So maybe if you never ran a marathon and you never ran before, that's going to be something new to you. But if you're already running, what you have to do is make changes in your routine so that way you can prepare to run a marathon. So that's what I'm referring to. So then we're going to actually look at our list and we're going to say to ourselves, okay, what are some of the things that I may want to do in the next 12 months? Now we actually have to put some kind of time frame. And the way we're going to decide what we're going to accomplish and when is we're going to use an acronym called SMART. And SMART is very commonly applied to when you're setting goals. And it's easy to use, but I love the framework for it because it's actually helping you get really specific on what you want to do. So instead of just saying, hey, I want to lose weight, that's a lot of the times, there are quite a few people who probably have that on their list. Here's how I want you to think about. Let's use that acronym for that particular question. So first of all, your goal has to be specific. So you can't just say, I want to lose weight. You need to specify how many pounds you want to lose. So think about what is your ideal weight that you want to be. So let's say you want to be 150 pounds and maybe right now you're 180 pounds. So your goal is to lose 30 pounds. So that's number 1. Then it has to be measurable. That's where you're 30 pounds. You tell yourself, okay, I want to lose weight and I want to lose 30 pounds. Okay. And it also has to be achievable. So that's letter A. It's something that has to be realistic. You can't tell yourself, well, I want to lose 30 pounds in a week. Well, that's just not realistic. So you need to tell yourself that overall losing 30 pounds, if you really think about it and you put an action plan together, it's very doable. It's doable. It just has to be done in a reasonable amount of time. And then it has to be relevant. It just has to make sense. And the last one that's important is time specific. So if you're going to tell yourself, Olga, I'm going to lose 30 pounds and I want to do it in 6 months. Okay, great. So now we know that we have a goal that we want to achieve and we want to do it in 6 months. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make it measurable and relevant by saying, okay, 6 months, 30 pounds. If we really want to take it down, is we divide 30 pounds by 6 months. So that's 5 pounds a month. That doesn't sound as scary as 30 pounds anymore. And then we break it down even more. So what do I need to do in order to lose 5 pounds every month? So that's kind of how you build you have your goal of losing 30 pounds. You know that you want to get it done in 60 days, in 6 months. So 6 months from now, it's going to be November. So let's say right before Christmas, you want to lose those 30 pounds for your Christmas photos. So you have an incentive. Now you know that every month you need to focus on weighing yourself and making sure that by the end of the month, you lose 5 pounds. And then you narrow down even more and say, okay, so how am I going to actually do that? How am I going to lose 5 pounds? Well, you may want to start writing down everything that you eat every day. And then you can get a bird's eye view when you're looking at that page and say, you know what? I had some chips and I had too many chips, or maybe I had some extra dessert and that I didn't really need to, or maybe I had a really sugary coffee drink and Dunkin'. Maybe these are the things that I can cut out. And then you start out very slow and you cut out one thing or maybe 2 things, and then you weigh yourself by the end of a couple of days to see if it makes a difference. And that's how you do that, by trial and error. Or you can say, you know what? I don't know if I can do it myself. Perhaps I need to talk to a nutritionist to help me just devise a plan. And that's when you say, okay, by the end of this week, I need to find a nutritionist. I need to set up an appointment with that person, find out how much the cost is for the consultation, and then have her help me design a plan. And that's how you actually figure out what needs to happen if you want by 6 months from now, you want to lose those 30 pounds. So the suggestion is you apply this SMART structure around every one of these things that you want to accomplish. So when you look at your list in each category, you ask yourself, what do I want to do maybe in the next 3 months, in the next 6 months, or the next year? And you highlight those things. And then you say, okay, which ones do I want to do first? For example, if you and your spouse want to travel to Germany in the fall for Oktoberfest, as an example. So that's going to be in October, which means that you're roughly 3 months out, right? Because by the time October rolls, you should already have your plan. So you are now 3 months out. So what needs to happen in these 3 months for you to actually be able to make your trips? The first thing, you just write it down. What do I need to do in the next 3 months? I need to look up and see how much the airline tickets are going to cost. And then I may want to go on Google Flights and set an alert for airline tickets to see when the flights are going to fluctuate, so that way you know when the prices change. Then you may want to look at the calendar and say, okay, these dates work better, but I'm flexible. So this is kind of like a general time frame when we want to go. The next thing would be, well, where are we going to stay? Do we want to stay in a hotel? Or do we want to stay maybe in Airbnb where we can rent the whole apartment? Then you need to look up at Airbnbs and then maybe save some options to see what's available and how much it's going to cost you. And remember, when you're doing plans like that, I'm an avid traveler, so everything that I'm talking about is usually how I would research the plans if our family gets ready to travel. Is the sooner you make these reservations, the sooner you make these plans, the easier it's going to be at the end, because most of the people wait till last minute. Okay, so keep that in mind as well. So then once you know where you're going to be staying, you need to then figure out overall budget and decide, okay, where are the funds going to be coming from to pay for this trip? And when am I actually going to be ready to pull the trigger? And then after that, you can say, okay, well, if we're going to be going there for a week, what are we going to do? So then you can go into places like Reddit, or maybe you can find some Facebook groups for traveling to Germany, A lot of the times they have really useful and helpful information from locals, or from the people that already traveled to that area, to share with you some of the things that they have done, where they stayed, where did they eat, and you can start creating a list of things. So you can do like a spreadsheet of things, and you'll be able to see different options. So that's how I would approach that goal. But then also, let's say what's on my list is experience the aerial yoga. And you know what? I'm not anxious to try it. It's just something cool for me. So it could be a fluid item on my list that I can say, well, I'll be happy if I try it in the next 3 months, but if I don't, that's okay too. Right? So that's on my maybe list. So one of the things that I can maybe do is say, you know what, let me see which studios in my area offer it and how much it costs. And maybe look up and see what the schedule is. And is this something that I can just do and go in and just do it one time? Or do I have to buy a subscription or a monthly pass or something like that? So that's how I would approach that. And I love the idea when you're setting goals, having that time frame, because if you don't specify, well, I want to go to Germany, great. And then what? If you really think about it, do you want to go to Germany a specific season? Do you want to go to Germany this year or next year? Is there a special holiday you want to go to? Where in Germany do you want to go to? Why do you want to go? Who is going to go with you? So these are all the questions that you can ask yourself that will help you really kind of zero in on what you want to do, right? Because if you don't actually put some kind of framework in the system around it, none of the things that you put on your list are actually going to happen. So this is why I love recommending that you watch The Bucket List. And the second movie that I want to share with you is I'm going to show you the trailer now. Is your second movie to watch and your homework. This is one of my favorite movies that I rewatch on a regular basis. And so let me show you the trailer for that. Here we go.
Georgia Bird spent her life
Morning, Miss Bird.
Mr. Williams?
dreaming of possibilities.
I suggest you get with the program, Miss Bird. Yeah.
You're just scared of some man getting a hold of that.
Until the day
I was wondering sometime if you're free.
I'll get it.
oh, fate
This can't be right.
changed everything.
I got 3 weeks to live? I feel great. I just finished a fat flush. Remember you said life was too short to live the way I do? You see, Mr. Damien. Excuse me, would you mind? Yeah. I quit.
I'm sure a disciplined woman such as yourself has a very useful purpose for this money.
I'm just gonna blow it.
Welcome to Grand Hotel Poop.
Y'all really say it like that? Poop, poop, poop.
I know that you will find our presidential suite most comfortable.
Did I just give you a ridiculously large tip?
Yes.
Mine.
Are you all right, Madam Bell?
Yeah. I just love these sheets. I was just taking them for a little ride around the block. Make me international.
I haven't seen Georgia around for a couple of days. Have you seen her?
Give my money.
Hello, sister. Who the hell is she? Mademoiselle Bird. Very rich.
Ooh, look at that. Will he have the same specials tomorrow night?
No.
I guess I better try them all tonight then.
Toot?
Oh, no. Toot, baby. Toot sweet.
From Paramount Pictures,
Ooh, I've been waiting my whole life to do something like this.
you're invited
Slow down!
on a holiday
I got a gut feeling about that woman. She's trouble.
fit for a queen.
I'm going base jumping tomorrow, Bob.
Georgia!
Sean, what are you doing here?
Queen Latifah,
Next time, we will laugh more, we'll love more. We just won't be so afraid.
last holiday.
Wait, I gotta use the bathroom.
So that's the second movie that I want you to watch. And you know what? Queen Latifah's character doesn't have a bucket list. She has a book of possibilities. And it's so cool because she puts things in there, she takes pictures, and then she puts it away. And then she just keeps hustling and hustling until a faulty machine tells her that she only has 3 weeks to live. And this is when she takes out that book and she's like, I'm just going to go to town and do the things that I always wanted to do. So that was a really, really good, fun movie to watch. So that's your second homework, for you to watch that movie and then take some of the lessons from that movie too and implement that when you're deciding your own, whether it's a bucket list or I love to call it actually possibilities list. So, and the last item on our list when you are building your purpose-driven bucket list or possibility list is for you to share that list with others. You can't keep it hiding. There's some things on there that if you want to do for yourself, then keep it to yourself. But if you really want to be accountable to get things done, especially if it involves other people, you need to tell them the things that you want to do. So you are going to write those things down, and then you're going to share it with your family, also with whoever you plan on doing it with, that person, to get them excited and also to hold you accountable, and then enlist in their help, right? And if you are part of the community and then you want to contribute to that community, who are those community members that maybe you can share this information with so they can help you and push you and to keep you moving forward and in the right direction. So that is the goal. So those are kind of like the six things that are part of creating a purpose-driven bucket list. And I love the idea of doing this, especially for your retirement. But I also love the idea of doing this if you're not retired yet. If you are 5 years or 10 years from retirement, who says that you cannot travel before that? Like people always say, well, I will travel, or when I retire, I'm going to do this. When I retire, I'm going to do that. Well, who says that you can't do it now? That's like one of my pet peeves, I think, is that you get time off. You are healthier now that you're probably going to be in the second part of your retirement. Why not do things now that you want to do? Why are you waiting to do them later? What if later never comes? Things happen. I had clients who were so focused on saving for retirement. They were putting money away. They were doing everything the right way. And they were so excited. They retired. And then the husband passed away 6 months later. Now the wife is a widow by herself, and they had all these big plans. And guess what? How many of those plans do you really think they were able to accomplish in the 6 months before he passed away suddenly? So life happens. Things happen suddenly. So my recommendation to you is if you really are about dreaming about something that you want to do, then do it now. Don't wait until later, or don't wait till retirement. So that's my suggestion to you. So I shared with you the possibilities book. I shared with you the 2 movies. I shared with you the trailers. So that is the homework for you. And my suggestion to you is look up the book by Jay Wertz that I shared with you, Generating Purpose-Driven Bucket List During Your Purpose-Driven Retirement, and check it out. And if you don't want to do the book, there are a couple of podcast episodes that you can find if you search them on like Apple or Spotify, where he talks a little bit more about his own journey and some of the things that he did for his purpose-driven bucket list. Like what he did, one of the things that he set as a goal for himself on his bucket list is because he's an avid skier. So he made a list of visiting 50 different ski resorts in 5 years. That's what he wanted to do. So how do you do that? You have to break it down. How many resorts are you going to visit every year? So that's 10 resorts. Where are they all going to be? If you can group them together, can you knock them out? Is this physically possible for you? So the lists are going to be different depending on what you're trying to accomplish. So I thought this was just a really cool thing to share. And I encourage you to do the life graph, which is probably going to take you some time. I know that when I'm going to think about mine, it's going to take you some time to do, maybe not even in one sitting, but it's just a cool thing to have to give you this visual, right? A really cool visual on what your life has been like. And sometimes you forget all the cool things that happened in your life. And also you forget that some of the worst things that we think that happen in our lives can be our biggest lessons that propelled us to where we are today. So I encourage you to definitely do that. And then please come back and share how you have accomplished. Maybe what are some of the things that you put on your list and shared with others, because sometimes hearing others talk about what they're planning on doing is super helpful in creating your own journey and then creating your own list. So that's what I have to share with you today. I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have questions, or maybe you have some suggestions. Maybe you already have a list. Do you have a list of things that you want to do? It may not be called a bucket list, but a list nonetheless. And maybe you can tell us what's on your list. Anybody wants to share? Very cool. Let me see if I can find my list. I want to try pottery. This is what's on my list because I thought it was pretty cool. I don't know if I have the patience for it, but I want to try it. I also want to try glass blowing. I thought that was actually pretty interesting. Let's see what else I have here. Well, it looks like I got to work on my list too. So it's not just you guys. So, all right. Well, if no other suggestions, we're going to wrap up for today. I hope that you enjoyed talking about our bucket list. Please join us again next week at 2 o'clock Eastern time, as I'm going to dig up something else that's really interesting and fun for me to talk to you and share with you to hopefully make your life better and help you making your own plans for now and for your retirement as well. So have a great day, everybody. Bye.